That simple, playful moment once symbolized what fans believed was the beginning of something rare in Hollywood. A love story that felt authentic, grounded, real. When Jennifer Hudson and Common finally stepped into the public eye as a couple, the reaction was immediate and emotional. People didn't just like them together, they rooted for them. This wasn't just another celebrity fling. To fans, it felt like destiny. Jennifer Hudson had already endured years of very public heartbreak, legal battles, and emotional trauma. She was no stranger to loss or resilience. So when she appeared beside Common, calm, glowing, and visibly happy, many believed she had finally reached her fairy tale ending, and on the surface, everything looked perfect to Chicago natives, to artists with deep cultural influence. One, an ego-to-winning powerhouse. The other, a poet-trapper turned activist and author. Together, they appeared to represent growth, maturity, and alignment. Music, film, philanthropy, faith, their worlds blended effortlessly for a while. It felt like watching two stars finally land in the same orbit. But Hollywood has a way of dressing illusions in luxury lighting. To understand where this relationship stands now, you first have to understand how carefully it was built and how long it took to officially exist. 4 years. Jennifer and Common danced around each other in public, charity events, courtside NBA games, award shows, smiles that lingered just a second too long, conversations that felt intimate but never confirmed. It became one of those classic Hollywood sagas, the kind designed to keep fans guessing. Are they or aren't they? They never answered directly. That silence only made the rumors louder. Then came the 2024 sci-fi thriller Breathe. The moment insiders say everything changed. According to reports from the set, the chemistry between them wasn't acting, it was magnetic. The kind of spark that doesn't switch off when the cameras stop rolling. Paparazzi followed them relentlessly. Philadelphia, Chicago, Malibu. Different cities, same whispers. TMZ headlines multiplied. Fan theories exploded, and yet still no confirmation. No official label, no public declaration. Just a slow burn that felt intentional. And that's where the first cracks begin to show. Because in Hollywood, relationships don't usually stay ambiguous for years unless there's a reason. Sometimes it's privacy. Other times, it's strategy. Looking back now, the delay feels less like romance unfolding naturally and more like something being carefully curated. Eventually, Common spoke. Sort of, when pressed during interviews, he praised Jennifer endlessly, called her inspiring, beautiful, a blessing. He spoke with reverence, but also with distance. It was admiration, not ownership, appreciation, not commitment. And when the relationship finally became official, it happened on her platform, The Jennifer Hudson Show. That moment mattered, because once the public confirmation happened, Common's visibility changed overnight. He wasn't just a respected artist anymore. He was the man dating Jennifer Hudson, daytime television, royalty with a loyal audience and massive cultural reach. He appeared frequently, sat comfortably on her couch, shared laughs, talked about Chicago, about faith, about happiness. He spoke poetically about love. He talked about growth. He talked about marriage. But something was missing. Despite the speeches, despite the interviews, despite the talk of life partnership, there was never a ring, no proposal, no concrete step forward. Just words beautifully spoken, endlessly repeated. Jennifer, meanwhile, kept things simple. She called him that man of mine. No grand declarations, no overexposure. Just quiet affection. And that contrast mattered. Behind the scenes, whispers suggested Jennifer preferred privacy, real love, not performative love. She had already lived through a relationship that turned into legal warfare. She knew what happens when intimacy becomes entertainment, and then, just when fans believed this was the calm after the storm, everything shifted. Every Hollywood Love story has a moment where the fairy tale either solidifies or shatters. For Jennifer Hudson and Common, that moment allegedly arrived not on a red carpet. Not during an interview, but in the shadows of a private afterparty where whispers move faster than security guards. The setting couldn't have been more stereotypical. If it tried a post-Grammy celebration in Los Angeles, one of those ultra-exclusive, velvet-rope-only establishments where celebrities unwind. Deals are whispered, and reputations can be quietly destroyed before sunrise. The kind of place where privacy is promised but rarely delivered. According to industry chatter, Common was there, and he wasn't alone. Multiple sources claim that he was seen in a corner booth, far from the main floor, leaning in close to a woman who was very clearly not Jennifer Hudson. Not a colleague, not a casual acquaintance. The body language, they say, told a very different story. An arm draped comfortably, laughter exchanged in hushed tones. Heads close enough to suggest intimacy, not conversation. The energy, witnesses claimed, felt personal, familiar in a way that doesn't belong to someone who's allegedly in a committed relationship. And that's when the rumor caught fire. Because in Hollywood, it only takes one moment to undo years of carefully crafted image. Especially when that image is built on respect, growth, and emotional maturity. What made this situation worse wasn't just what allegedly happened. It was how Jennifer Hudson found out. Not from him, not through a private conversation, not with honesty or explanation. She reportedly learned the same way everyone else did, through whispers. Through text messages passed quietly among insiders. Through the industry grapevine that never sleeps and never protects feelings. That detail alone changed everything, because betrayal hurts. But public humiliation cuts deeper. Jennifer Hudson is not just a singer or an actress. She is a brand, a daytime television powerhouse. A woman whose image is built on grace, composure, and emotional strength. When your name becomes attached to scandalous, especially one you didn't create, doesn't just bruise your heart, it threatens your business. And this wasn't a small rumor. The gossip grew sharper when another layer was added. Whispers that the woman in question may have had ties to Jennifer's broader social or professional circle. If true, that detail transforms discomfort into something far more personal, because betrayal from a stranger is painful. Betrayal from someone close to your world is devastating. But here's where Jennifer Hudson reminded everyone exactly who she is. There were no angry Instagram posts, no cryptic captions, no tearful confessions on camera. No late-night interviews dragging names through the mud. Instead, her camp executed what insiders later described as silent dominance. A single, controlled narrative was pushed forward. Jennifer Hudson is focused on her work, her family, and her peace. Her personal life is not up for discussion, full stop. That move did two things simultaneously. First, it protected her brand. Second, it forced the public to read between the lines. Silence in Hollywood is never empty. It speaks volumes, especially when it follows explosive rumors. Meanwhile, Common's response or lack of one only added fuel to the fire. Almost overnight, he vanished. For a man known for public introspection, poetic captions, and thoughtful commentary, the sudden silence felt calculated, strategic. Not the silence of someone processing emotions, but the silence of someone waiting for a storm to pass. And the internet. Notice. Comment sections lit up with brutal honesty. Not shock, but recognition. Nobody believes this man is getting married until he's standing at the altar. He said the same thing to the last 5 women. Every time the relationship gets serious, he exits. It wasn't outrage. It was pattern recognition. What stung even more was the resurfacing of old comments from fans who once begged him not to mess this up. Messages praising Jennifer as the full package, beautiful, talented, faithful, grounded. Fans had practically handed him a warning manual, and yet, here they were. which raised an uncomfortable question many were afraid to ask out loud. How did Jennifer not see this coming? Some speculated that Common is simply a master performer, not just on stage or screen, but in relationships. Charming, introspective, emotionally articulate. The kind of man who knows exactly what to say, when to say it, and how to make growth sound convincing. Others pointed out something darker. That Common may be addicted not to women, but to beginnings. To the honeymoon phase. To the validation of being desired by powerful, successful women at the peak of their visibility. And once the excitement fades, so does the commitment. If that theory holds weight, then Jennifer Hudson didn't just fall into a breakup. She walked into a cycle that had already claimed others before her. And for a woman who guards her private life fiercely, this wasn't just another disappointment. It reopened wounds she had already fought hard to close. Because Jennifer knows what it's like to have her personal pain turned into public spectacle. She has lived through legal battles, custody disputes, an emotional warfare that played out under headlines and court documents. This alleged betrayal didn't just hurt, echoed. It mirrored past experiences where trust collapsed and strength was required not to survive quietly, but to survive publicly. That's why this moment matters, not because of gossip, not because of speculation, but because it exposed the fragile line between image and reality and forced everyone to question which version of this love story was ever real.